Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will discuss myeloid neoplasm. So these can be classified into three major categories in your book: acute myeloid leukemias, myeloid dysplastic syndromes, and myeloproliferative disorders. The common feature of this heterogeneous group of neoplasms is an origin from hematopoietic progenitor cells. These diseases primarily involve the marrow and to a lesser degree the secondary hematopoietic organs, and usually present with symptoms related to altered hematopoiesis. So you have seen the hierarchy. I have shown you the pictures. How these cells are derived in the bone marrow. Originally, the pluripotent stem cell, then maybe myeloid committed or lymphoid committed. Next and next, more and more commitment is there. More restricted differentiation. So these are changing according to the position of this immature cell which is transformed. So we will be discussing these three major categories in detail: acute myeloid leukemias, myelodysplastic syndromes, and myeloproliferative disorders. Today we will discuss acute myeloid leukemia. Acute myeloid leukemia is a tumor of hematopoietic progenitors caused by acquired oncogenic mutations that impede differentiation. There are some mutations in the genes, and these mutations result in block of differentiation, so leading to the accumulation of immature myeloid blasts in the marrow. So what will be the result of this blockage? Mature cells are not being produced, and these neoplastic blast cells, these are replacing the normal myeloid elements in the marrow. The replacement of the marrow with blast produces marrow failure. So what will be the result of marrow failure? So this will suppress normal erythropoiesis, which will result in anemia, rather progressive anemia, more and more suppression, and hemoglobin will be going down every day. There will be suppression of megakaryopoiesis, so there will be thrombocytopenia, low platelet production due to suppression of the normal myeloid differentiation, no mature neutrophils, so there may be repeated infections. So these are the results of bone marrow failure, very much resembling to the results of bone marrow failure in ALL. Now this is a very heterogeneous group. This is the classification. This table is present in your book. You can see from there also WHO classification of acute myeloid leukemia. In this classification, this AML, this is divided into four major categories. Class 1, this is AML with genetic aberrations. There are some abnormalities in the chromosomes. AML with translocation 8 to 21, AML with inversion 16, AML with translocation 15 to 17. You can see the prognosis, morphological comments, AML with translocation 11q 23, AML with normal cytogenetics and mutated NPM. So when we do karyotyping, we can find these mutations, we can find these changes in the chromosomes, and nowadays these are more important because these are helping us for the treatment, what type of therapy we have to give to these patients, and also we can assess the prognosis in these patients on the basis of these different changes in the chromosomes. So you can see this favorable or unfavorable, intermediate, poor prognosis. So this is based on the examination of the chromosomes, cytogenetic examination. Second class of AML, AML with MDS-like features. MDS, myelodysplastic syndromes. Some of these cases will be changing from MDS to AML with prior MDS. And initially this was MDS, then this changed to AML, more aggressive form. Another category, AML with multi-lineage dysplasia, AML with MDS-like cytogenetic aberrations. So these are different types, MDS-related AML. Third category, this is AML therapy-related. Yani patient was taking chemotherapy or radiotherapy for some other cancer, other tumor, like patient was taking, for example, chemotherapy or radiotherapy for breast cancer or lung cancer, any other tumor. So after a few years, he can get AML. This is known as therapy-related AML. Actually, all these chemotherapeutic agents and these radiotherapy, these produce some mutatic changes, some mutations in the chromosomes. And step by step, these can get so much change that this will result in malignancy, and most commonly this is AML. Fourth category or fourth class, this is AML not otherwise specified. AML minimally differentiated, AML without maturation, AML with myelocytic maturation, AML with myelomonocytic maturation, AML with monocytic maturation, AML with erythroid maturation, AML with megakaryocytic maturation. No, this is in your book. So in this category, actually, we see the morphology of the blast and we see the stage of blockage of differentiation. Morphology of the blast, this may be a myeloblast, this may be a monoblast, but we can identify these by the morphology. Similarly, at what stage there is blockage of the maturation, what type of blast, myeloblasts or promyelocytes are coming in the petroblast. So on these bases we divide into different categories. Previously this was known as a FAB classification. FAB, F-A-B, FAB, French, American, British group of hematologists, they agreed upon these different types of AML. This was known as FAB classification. In this classification, AML was divided into from M0, M1, M2, M3, M4, M5, M6, M7, from M0 to M7. This is also given in your book in the pictures. You will see he narrates fab this and fab this. Oh, this is confusing. So I want to explain this. So this is old classification which was used internationally for the classification of AML. Still it is in use to some extent. Even in Robin they have used these terms in some pictures. So here this was classified on the basis of the morphology of the blast cell and degree of differentiation. So this is the classification of AML. Now, this is another table from Essential Hematology of Brand. You can memorize any one of this which you feel easier. This is almost similar. Acute myeloid leukemia with the recurrent genetic abnormality. This is again changes in the mutations in the chromosomes. Then secondary acute myeloid leukemia with myelodysplasia related changes. Third category therapy related myeloid neoplasm. Fourth is acute myeloid leukemia not otherwise specified. This is again same, and this was also used in FAB classification. Another category here given is myeloid sarcoma or myeloid proliferation related to Down syndrome. Very common from the Down syndrome in these patients. These get AML. Transient abnormal myelopoiesis or myeloid leukemia. So these are the two classifications. Both they have given this name, the WHO classifications. Maybe some more modifications later, but this is 2008 classification. Now these are some differential points. We have also discussed these in the topic of ALL. These four types of leukemia are very important clinically, so I am discussing these first. One is ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Second is CLL, chronic lymphocytic leukemia. We have finished these before. The other two types, AML, acute myeloid leukemia, and then next is CML, chronic myeloid leukemia. So we will be discussing these first because these are more important clinically. You can see many patients in your clinical practice. Now this is the differential. These are the differential points between lymphoblast and myeloblast. We have seen the morphology. Size in lymphoblast, this is smaller as compared to myeloblast. Then in comparison, nuclear chromatin material, this is bit condensed in lymphoblast, but this way more open, more delicate and skin-like in the myeloblast. Nucleoli, number of nucleoli is less in lymphoblast as compared to myeloblast, and these are also less prominent in lymphoblast as compared to myeloblast. In your book this may be used in lymphoblast. These are inconspicuous. These are not very clear or very prominent in the lymphoblast. Cytoplasmic granules, these are absent in the lymphoblast. Usually these are present in the myeloblast. In very immature forms, M0, maybe no granules in the myeloblast also. Sudan black, these are some special stains used to differentiate these two types. One is Sudan black stain, another is myeloperoxidase stain. So both stains, these are parallel, both are positive in myeloblast, they will negative in the lymphoblast. Positive means when we stain these slides with this stain, Sudan black or myeloperoxidase, they will take this color. In Sudan black, this is black color. I will show you these slides. The myeloblast will take this black color, so these are positive for Sudan black. This means this disease is AML. In lymphoblast, they will not take this color, so these are negative for Sudan black. We will say this is ALL. PS stain, another special stain, so this may be positive, block positive in lymphoblast, usually find diffuse positive or negative in the myeloblast. Now you can see this comparison, same points. So these two slides are in this one picture. This is just to show you the comparison. Now you can see the size, left side ALL, lymphoblast, these are smaller in size as compared to the myeloblast, right side. Similarly, you can see cytoplasm, this is very less when we can see the whole of the cell. So very little portion of the whole of the cell is occupied by the cytoplasm in the lymphoblast, but cytoplasm is more in the myeloblast. So in some books you will read this ALL have high N over C ratio, N over C, nucleus over cytoplasm. If we consider the whole of the volume of the cell, and most of the volume is occupied by the nucleus and very little is occupied by the cytoplasm. So this is high N over C ratio. And in AML or myeloblast, this is a low N over C ratio. Simply this means in myeloblast there is more cytoplasm. If we consider total volume of the cell in myeloblast, then less area is occupied by the nucleus as compared to the lymphoblast. Maybe, for example, here in lymphoblast, maybe 90% is nucleus, only 10% is cytoplasm, or 5% is cytoplasm, 95% is nucleus. But if you see myeloblast, maybe 60% is nucleus, 40% is cytoplasm. So this is low N over C ratio, simply means more cytoplasm. Similarly, number of nucleoli, this is less than lymphoblast as compared to myeloblast. These are small whitish spots in the nucleus. So, and these are more clear in the myeloblast as compared to the lymphoblast. So in lymphoblast, these are inconspicuous, not very prominent. So these are some differential points in the morphology. This is all Giemsa stain, routine staining, and we can differentiate these two types on the basis of morphology. We can suspect, okay, this patient belongs to AML, not ALL, or ALL, not AML. This is again same comparison, morphological points. Now this is special stain, Sudan black stain. You can see these blast cells, if you can see this arrow, these blasts are taking this black color. So most of these blasts, they have taken this black color after this special stain. So this means these blasts are positive for Sudan black. Positive Sudan black means this is a case of AML. These are myeloblasts, so this means this is a case of AML, not ALL. Now similar blast cells, but when we do this Sudan black, almost all are negative for Sudan black. So we conclude from this negative Sudan black that these are lymphoblasts, so the patient is suffering from ALL, not AML. So this is the role of special stains, cytochemistry we call it. Now these are some differential points. We have also discussed these in the topic of ALL. These 4 types of leukemia are very important clinically, so I am discussing these First, one is ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Second is CLL, chronic lymphocytic leukemia. We have finished these before. The other two types, AML, acute myeloid leukemia, and then next is CML, chronic myeloid leukemia. So we will be discussing these first because these are more important clinically. You can see many patients in your clinical practice. Now this is the differential. These are the differential points between lymphoblast and myeloblast. We have seen the morphology. Size in lymphoblast, this is smaller as compared to myeloblast. Then in comparison, nuclear chromatin material, this is bit condensed in lymphoblast, but this may more open, more delicate and skin-like in the myeloblast. Three surface markers which are seen characteristically in ALL, in TALL, BALL and AML. These are shown. AML, acute myeloid leukemia, BALL, B cell, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and TALL means T cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia. So these are abbreviations. TDT means terminal deoxynucleotide transferase. Now you can see these. Now these are different surface markers. In myeloid cells, these will be positive for CD13, CD33, CD117. So if these surface markers are present, this means the blast cell belong to these are myeloblasts, so this is the case of AML. Similarly, we can see the surface markers CD10, 19, CD22. Some of these, for example, CD10 may be an immature B cell. So this means these are immature cells of B lineage. So this is a BALL. Similarly, we can see CD2, CD3, CD7. If these surface markers are positive, then we can say these immature cells belong to T lymphocytes. So this is the case of TALL. So in both type of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, TDT will be positive. So this is immunophenotyping. This term is used in your books. You should know this. So we can use some antibodies against the surface markers. Nowadays, this is very easy. There is a big machine, although bit expensive. Just like we have hematology analyzer, we can have a flow cytometry machine. We just give some blood sample. This will give us, according to the surface marker, different types of cells. How many this lineage cells are present, how many these lineage cells are present, and then we can decide which type of leukemia is. This is morphology, just staining. This is flow cytometry, immunophenotyping. So we can detect the lineage of the blast cell, and we can detect the developmental stage of these cells by this immunophenotyping. Now these are some subtypes of AML, acute myeloid leukemia subtypes, acute promyelocytic leukemia with T15 to 17 translocation. In Fab classification, this was known as M3 subtype. Also, the full name of acute promyelocytic leukemia. This one. You see many promyelocytes in these patients. Bone marrow aspirate shows neoplastic promyelocytes with abnormal cores and numerous eosinophilic granules. Other characteristic findings include the presence of several cells with bilobed nuclei and a cell in the center of the field that contains multiple needle-like or rods. Now if you can see this arrow, you see these are multiple. In the cytoplasm of this cell, these are multiple rod-like structure. These are known as R rod. This is typical finding in the myeloblast. If we see this R rod, maybe a single one, this means, or maybe multiple are in one cell. So this means these are myeloid blasts, not lymphoid blasts. So this is a case of AML, not a case of ALL. So these are not present in all myeloid cells, but if these are present, this confirms the case as AML. In picture B, you can see acute myeloid leukemia with monocytic differentiation. In FAB classification, this was considered as FAB M5. Again, M5A or M5B. So FAB classification, this was M5 subtype. This means acute monocytic leukemia. Peripheral smear shows one monoblast and 5 pro-monocytes with folded nuclear membranes. Now these are pro-monocytes, all these 5 pro-monocytes, and this is monoblast. So this means this patient is suffering from AML M5 from the FAB classification. Now this is just for your some understanding. There are different clinical features and clinical presentations according to different subtypes of AML. Again, these are different types of AML. You can see from your book what type of morphology we will see in different categories, different subtypes of AML. And most of these are again subtypes according to FAB classification. Now this is just to show you in monocytic differentiation M4, M5 we can see this. This is the gums are swollen and hemorrhagic because of infiltration by the leukemic cell. This is typical clinical features in M4, M5. Patient has gum infiltration. These gums may be having a bleeding tendency. So we can see swollen gums, we can see bleeding from the gums. Now this is a very heterogeneous group. This is the classification. This table is present in your book. You can see from there also WHO classification of acute myeloid leukemia. In this classification, this AML, this is divided into 4 major categories. Class 1, this is AML with genetic aberrations. There are some abnormalities in the chromosomes. AML with translocation 8 to 21, AML with inversion 16, AML with translocation 15 to 17. You can see the prognosis, morphological comments. AML with translocation 11q 23, AML with normal cytogenetics and mutated NPM. So when we do karyotyping, we can find these mutations, we can find these changes in the chromosomes, and nowadays these are more important because these are helping us for the treatment, what type of therapy we have to give to these patients, and also we can assess the prognosis in these patients on the basis of these different changes in the chromosomes. So you can see this favorable or unfavorable, intermediate, poor prognosis. So this is morphology, just immunostaining. This is flow cytometry, immunophenotyping. So we can detect the lineage of the blast cell, and we can detect the developmental stage of these cells by this immunophenotyping. Laboratory findings, or you can discuss this in morphology. Laboratory, how we will diagnose these cases. What we will see in the CBC. This is a routine test, CBC. We have discussed hemoglobin will be low and this may be going down, maybe if you repeat the same after 1 week, or 3 days, or 5 days, 10 days, this may be going down in every test. So progressive anemia, and same we can see thrombocytopenia, low platelet count, blast will be increasing in number. In initial stages, there may be normal TLC, even below normal, pancytopenia, TLC is below normal, hemoglobin is below normal, platelet count is below normal. This is known as, all three things are lineages are suppressed. So this is known as pancytopenia. So this is a very important differential point. In all these cases, we should think for acute leukemia, maybe ALL or AML. So patient can present with a TLC below normal, maybe within normal range, or this may be very high, maybe more than 100, 200,000 per microliter. So if the TLC is very high, the diagnosis is very clear. But when the TLC is within normal range or below normal in pancytopenic patient, so we can see some blast cells in the peripheral blood, but only some expert person can recognize them. And then we have to ask for bone marrow aspiration. This is the stage where treatment is possible. So in these patients, we must refer these patients to some proper person for proper treatment. because now with more modern chemotherapy we can hope for treatment. Otherwise, this was a very dangerous disease. Still, it is a dangerous disease. Patient can die within few weeks if untreated. Bone marrow findings. So, if the blasts are clear in the peripheral blood, then bone marrow is not needed for diagnosis. Diagnosis is clear from the peripheral blood also. So, if we see some pancytopenic patients, we aspirate the marrow, we can see maybe in the peripheral smear, we can see very few blast cells, or sometimes even we cannot see any blast cells in the peripheral blood. This is known as aleukemic leukemia. Before this was name given, then there is no leukemia, still there is a name, also this is a misnomer. In these cases, when we aspirate the marrow, bone marrow may be studded with the blast cells, full of blast cells, and normal myeloid elements are suppressed. So we can diagnose the case in such cases from the bone marrow. When the TLC is very high, blasts are very clear, then we don't need bone marrow aspiration for diagnosis. This is clear from the peripheral blood. Another thing, that is cytochemistry. I have shown you these pictures. Sudan black positive means myeloblast, Sudan black negative means lymphoblast. So these are very much resembling. So we have to do these special stains to differentiate these two types, because the treatment is different. So this is known as cytochemistry. So one is routines, any test, CBC, bone marrow aspiration, and we do Giemsa staining. Second thing, cytochemistry and special stains. Third thing is immunophenotyping. I have shown you this. The surface markers. On the basis of this surface markers, we can differentiate different type of cell lineages and different developmental stages of the cell. This is immunophenotyping. Nowadays, this is easily done by flow cytometry machine. In different, if in some setup we have this machine, so we can do this very easily. Flow cytometric analysis or immunophenotyping on the basis of surface markers. Fourth thing is karyotyping. We do the analysis of the chromosomes. We can see some translocations, some deletions, addition, this and that, some changes in the chromosome, and on the basis of these changes, we have discussed. Nowadays, this is more important because this can guide us for the therapy, which type of chemotherapeutic agent we have to give to these patients. So this is getting more and more important. Karyotyping, especially in cases of acute leukemia. Some subtypes, they have now very favorable prognosis. For example, acute promyelocytic leukemia, we have translocation 15 to 17. This is one type. Although just few years before, this was a diagnosis. This diagnosis means death certificate. But nowadays, we can hope for treatment. Maybe more than 80% of these patients can be treated, complete remission, and they may be cured. So this karyotyping is getting more and more important. Again, this table you can see, this is from essential hematology, some specialized tests for acute myeloid leukemia. These you can see immunological markers from flow cytometry, CD13, 33, 117, these will be positive in myeloid cell, myeloblast, CD11, CR14, 64, in monocytic lineage, in Fab classification, in M4, M5, these will be positive. Glycophorin, CD23, so in erythroid cells in M6 we have this positive. Platelet antigen, this will give us CD 41, 42, 61 positive. So this means these blasts belong to megakaryocytes. So these are megakaryoblast. So this is M7. So different types of acute leukemia. we can differentiate on the basis of these immunological markers. Myeloperoxidase stain, again this is from cytochemistry. Sudan black and myeloperoxidase, these are two parallel stains. These will be positive in myeloblast and negative in the lymphoblast. Chromosome and genetic analysis. So different translocations 15 to 17, this is most important. If we see this means acute promyelocytic leukemia, and treatment is now very easy for these patients. Cytochemistry, this is again same cytochemical staining. Myeloperoxidase is positive in myeloblast, and we can see some R rods. I have shown you these R rods. Sudan black will be positive also in R rods. Non-specific esterase will be positive in M4, M5. I have shown you this slide. So these are some special stains we use to differentiate different types of acute leukemia. Now, treatment. Just few years before, this was considered a death surgery. AML means patient will die within few weeks. But nowadays, especially in some subtypes like AML M3, acute promyelocytic leukemia, in this we have some translocation 15 to 17. In these patients, there is a blockage for the differentiation of these cells. But if you give this ATRA means all-trans retinoic acid, this is some drug like vitamin A. If we give pharmacological doses, we can say simply that, or simply this is treated by vitamin A, or plus ATRA plus arsenic salts. Now in these patients, maybe we can hope for more than 80% of the patients, they can get complete remission, they may be cured. This just finishes this blockage, and cells are differentiating. Now these tumor cells, they will change to mature neutrophils, then these are utilized, these are finished. So now this is very hopeful treatment for these patients. In other subtypes, in good risk patient, I have given you this detail in your book. You can see the table for WHO classification. There are some good risk karyotypes, for example, translocation 8 to 21 and version 16. So in such patients, we give chemotherapy. Maybe some of these patients can get complete remission, but maybe less than 30%, 15 to 30%, they will be free of disease after 5 years. This is, of course, not very hopeful treatment. In resistant cases or in patients who have some recurrence of the disease after chemotherapy, we can think for the allogenic hematopoietic stem cell transplantation. So nowadays, this is considered the curative treatment, stem cell transplantation. Thank you.